Absolut crazy. Aber das startet jetzt wieder ganz von Anfang, oder? Der ganz der Anfang halt jetzt, ne?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Du
simply
musst aber
missed a
so viele
memo.
Kombinationen eigentlich spielen, oder? New Content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh, ich fand ja in ihren Entscheidungen leid. Jetzt sollte jetzt. Ja, alles gut, alles gut. Detroit Become Human war auch sehr krass damals. Hä?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Okay.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
New Content ist der neue Content. Könnte sein, oder?
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the
Wer
Stanley
hätte es
Parable,
gedacht?
delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Dieses Deluxe hört sich so bescheuert an, finde ich.
Okay,
Deluxe
so far it's
klingt
an
irgendwie.
elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Sag's nicht zu Lautsprecher, nachher fällt uns jetzt der Boden hier weg. Achso, muss ich irgendwo drauf drücken?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do
Deluxe.
it.
Deluxe. Du den Lachs weg.
I have to say, initial impressions of
Dieser
Stanley
Sprecher.
Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content.
Geht
Give
los.
me the content,
Hoffe, ihr seid
Stanley.
bereit. Geht los. Das war jetzt aber frech. Okay. New Content. Jump Cycle.
All right.
Okay.
All right, let's
Wir
see.
werden springen.
It's the jump circle.
Okay. Ja. Also ich finde, die 20 Euro für die Deluxe Edition haben sich gelohnt, oder? Ich finde, wir sollten bei 7 aufhören. Finde ich eine gute Zahl. Die mag ich.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Ein Aufzug.
Goodness. Another elevator.
Die Macher machen darauf
I
einen
have
riesen
to say,
Meta-Joke, was in der
initial
Spielbranche
impressions
gerade
of
nicht so
this game
stimmt.
are not
Aus
positive.
diesem Grund haben sie zum
It's
Beispiel so
just
getan, dass sie ihr Spiel
elevators and
verschieben, weil sie noch
jumping.
mit Bugfixes
Is
zu
this
tun
what
haben.
causes for exciting new
Noch ein
content?
Season
If
passiert.
this is new content,
Okay.
then I could just read
Ja,
you the
gerade
whole
eben auch das mit dem
dictionary.
Geld, ne?
20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I
Hier, ich
could
mache eine
count to
Deluxe
30
Edition, gib mir mehr
trillion.
Geld.
You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And
1000 Stunden.
Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes.
Ah, wieder hinter
I
mir.
knew there had to be
Ich
something
verstehe.
else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying
That's
the new
it?
content.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley?
Echt?
This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally
Ja,
accountable.
Twitter ist auch immer so
It's
krass.
my fault,
Wenn
Stanley.
es mal Bugs
I
gibt
built
bei
up
einem
too
Game,
much
geht's
anticipation
so ab.
around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, Why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Okay. Start. Das sieht aber anders aus. Sprecher, bist du noch da? Sprecher. Eine.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Fannys Deluxe-Ecke machen. Das ist jetzt so richtig Sprecher.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out
Deluxe.
to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
What?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful
Sweet
Stanley
zone.
Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Gut. Bei on Steam. Habe ich schon. Mal because. Ah. Gut. Dollar. Oh. Game Watch. Sorry. Bin ich. Stimmt, ich habe ja die Deluxe-Version gekauft. Oh, ich wollte mich da hinhocken. Spiel 2013 ist doch gemeint, oder? Ja.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Okay.
Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote,
Deluxe.
"Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Person of the Year. Persona 3. Ja, eindeutig, oder? Unverkennbar.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
Okay, lies vor.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It
Ah,
didn't need
perfekt war
anything
10 von
else.
10.
It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories. These were simpler times, Stanley.
Schalter?
But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley,
Sehen hier
it's
jetzt
a
vielleicht die
collection of
negativen
reviews from
Reviews?
Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Fast nicht.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Mach mal den Regen aus. Oh, Achtung.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the
Nudelscharf.
idea of the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always
Der
thought
große, ich find's super
but
gemacht
maybe
gerade,
it
ja.
wasn't.
Was ich mich frage,
What an awful memory
sind
to
es
have to hold
echte
on to.
Rezensionen oder
These
nicht?
black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
Ich kann es mir schon vorstellen. Klar, wahrscheinlich ist er
Perhaps the Stanley
Nudelscharf.
Parable
Hieß wahrscheinlich
isn't quite as
Nudelscharf,
sterling
aber
as I always remembered.
sonst sind es doch bestimmt echte, oder? Gut, außer das mit dem Zähler, dass er unlustig ist. Das glaube ich nicht. Geschrieben. Da ist noch eine.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Okay. Ich wünsche euch noch viel Spaß später, eine schöne Nacht. Lieber die Secret, das wünsche ich dir auch. Schön, dass du da warst. Schlaf gut. Hab noch einen schönen Abend. Okay, wir haben einen Skip-Button.
And here it is. Go ahead and... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had
Wie jetzt einen langen Monolog
I'd say
hält.
it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, Then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought?
Hey,
Or
Locke!
rather, do all of the choices
Einen
you've ever
wunderschönen guten
made,
Abend.
in fact, make you more
Geht's dir
not
gut?
this kind
Wir haben
of
hier gerade ein
person, and in
bisschen
fact do the very
Monolog.
opposite. You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by
soll
virtue
ich
of the
vielleicht noch mal
fact that you
skippen?
both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around.
Okay, Leute, sorry, ich skippe.
Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what cooking now. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Oh.
That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But at any rate, I
Okay.
do suggest that we not press the button again.
Okay.
I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before.
Ja, hier
How
war eine.
else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort or a window or something like
Soweit
that.
alles
You see a
tutti.
window
Vorhin
here?
heimgekommen, meine
A
Heimat
porthole?
und was müde.
A
Ja!
sufficiently
Hab's
large
geile Essen
crack in the
gesehen.
wall? I'll take any of these.
Das ist doch
All I
schön.
want
Ich
is
hoffe, es
for
war
us to
gut.
move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than the skip button. Stanley!
Entschuldigung! Ja, was soll ich denn
Please
machen?
don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Oh, Entschuldigung.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
Okay.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley.
Sicher?
There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this
Lex, die
room, Stanley. I
Pflanze.
can't touch it, and I have
Geil.
to believe.
Okay,
I
Leute,
have to
ihr
know
kennt's ja.
that sooner
Push
or
the
later,
button.
No matter how much... Oh, Stanley.
Oh, jetzt
you're
ist er
back.
tot.
You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Entschuldigung.
Or 2 weeks.
Was?
I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person
Wir
to
haben nur
speak
den
with.
Notstrom.
And you'd think that that's just how it's
Schallfälle! Ja, ich hab's
Me
erkannt.
talking and you saying nothing. Would
Sehr
you
schön.
think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already
Wer redet
been
schon
doing?
wieder?
Me just talking.
Kann der mal ruhig
But
sein?
it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up.
Yeah.
I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story
Yeah.
to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need
Ich
to
hör
know
dich.
you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real.
Ich glaube, wir müssen schon wieder
Maybe
draufdrücken.
I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of
Aber
that
ich find's
all
voll
along?
gemein. Der arme Sprecher.
Yes.
Der dreht ja irgendwann hohl, oder?
Perhaps I've been scared this whole
Also er
time.
dreht ja schon
But if
hohl.
I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it.
Okay, es tut mir
I
leid.
can't be taken.
Jetzt ist Sprecher weg. Das war jetzt wahrscheinlich zu viel.
Hello, it's you. You're
Hi.
here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it.
Boah, jetzt muss ich mal überlegen, ich hätte nicht immer relativ schnell auf den Knopf gedrückt. Ich traue es dem Spiel ja zu, dass es minutenlang geht immer. Wie viel dieser Sprecher da eingesprochen hat. Dass du immer wieder wegklicken kannst.
It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment.
Und jetzt?
I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them
Irgendwann kann
was
der sich nicht
simply
mehr an
a
dich erinnern.
strand
Die
in
Frage,
the
ne?
web of my being. It was incredible.